a big noise playing. We will rock you.
Hello movie friends. Hope you have a great day. Welcome back to Movie Storyline. This time we will discuss the film that tells the story of the legendary world band Queen and its vocalist, Freddie Mercury. Bohemian Rhapsody tells the epic rise of one of the greatest bands in music history, Queen. But this isn't just a story about music, it's about identity, struggle, fame, and redemption.
What are you afraid of?
Got to make tell me, Queen any start.
From humble beginnings, Freddie Bulsara transforms into Freddie Mercury, the electrifying frontman who defied expectations and shattered norms.
It's tragedy.
With hit after hit, internal battles, and personal demons threatening to tear them apart, Queen's journey hits its crescendo in one of the greatest live performances in rock history, Live Aid, 1985. This is the story of how legends are made, how music unites us, and how one voice changed the world forever. Wondering what this movie is like? Let's break it down. And here it is, the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. The film begins with a bright morning atmosphere. There was a figure of a man who had just woken up from his sleep. He is Freddie Mercury, who is ready to perform at the big concert that will be held soon. On the other hand, in a place, namely Wembley Stadium, England, thousands of people flocked into the stadium to immediately watch the Live Aid music concert that was about to begin. It appears that all the stage crew are busy preparing the equipment that will be used at the concert. Finally, Freddie Mercury arrived at the concert venue, then he went up on stage and was ready to perform. Then the scene changes, flashback to previous years. It is set in the city of London in 1970. Freddie Mercury is seen as a teenager at that time. He works at the airport as a baggage handler. At his workplace, Freddie's colleagues usually call Freddie by the nickname Paki, even though Freddie himself is not from Pakistan. But Freddie seems to have gotten used to the nickname. While at home, Freddie seems to want to go out and play for a while just for some me time. However, before leaving the house, he met his father who had just come home. Freddie's father apparently doesn't like Freddie's lifestyle. Freddie's father still calls him by his real name, Farouk Freddie. Then Freddie went to a minibar, and there was a live music performance from the band Smile. He enjoyed a glass of beer while watching his favorite band perform. After the performance was finished, it seemed that the conditions backstage were a bit problematic. It appears that there was a dispute between the Smile band members, and it turned out that their vocalist chose to leave the Smile band at that time.
So then everyone else was gonna...
Then Freddie wanted to find the Smile band members after the performance. While in the bar hallway, Freddie met a woman who caught his attention. The woman's name was Mary Austin. After a short chat with Mary, Freddie then went out to the back of the minibar to meet the Smile band members. He finally met Smile guitarist Brian May and drummer Roger Taylor. Freddie introduced a little about himself. According to Brian and Roger, Freddie was a unique and strange person. Then Brian told that his vocalist had just resigned from the band Smile. Hearing this, Freddie was interested in replacing his position as vocalist of the band Smile. But it seems that Brian and Roger looked down on Freddie because of his unconvincing appearance and buck teeth. But Freddie didn't waver that easily. He started trying to bring out his golden voice in front of Brian and Roger. And they both looked surprised because Freddie Mercury's voice was so captivating, exceeding both of their expectations.
I know what I'm doing.
Long story short, the next day Freddie went to a fashion store called Biba. The shop was where Mary worked, a woman Freddie had met in the bar hallway yesterday. Then that night, it turned out that Freddie made his debut as the vocalist for the band Smile there. Freddie appeared confident in front of an audience that seemed unsure of his performance. And indeed, his first appearance was less than impressive. Long story short, when the Smile Band members were going somewhere, their car broke down in the middle of the journey. On Freddie's advice, they eventually sold the van to finance the recording of the song.
That's 3 months' wages.
Finally, they recorded a song in a studio with the money from selling their car. While in the studio, they recorded songs using more complicated techniques. It seems that they feel enthusiastic because they are sure that the songs they recorded are good and have been successfully created. It was then that Freddie finally proposed changing the band's name to Queen. Mary, the members of Queen, and Freddie's family then gathered at his house for a meal together. At that time, Freddie suddenly got a call from a music manager offering him a chance to join the group Queen. Of course, the news was welcomed by everyone, except his father, who wanted Freddie Mercury to become a boxer. Then, to make a long story short, the Queen personnel met their future manager, namely Mr. John Reid, and his assistant named Paul Prenter. They finally agreed on various contracts that they would carry out in the future. Then the band Queen began to appear on famous television stations such as BBC and performed from stage to stage. The scene shifts to Mary's house, where Freddie and Mary are spending some intimate time together. After a long relationship, Freddie finally proposed to Mary and gave her a ring as a sign of Freddie's affection for Mary.
Promise me you'll never take it off.
I promise.
After that, Queen members suddenly came and gave Freddie information that Mr. Reid offered a concert tour to the Queen band to perform in America. They accepted the offer and started their tour to Uncle Sam's country. There they successfully held the concert, and the name Queen slowly became more famous.
I know the crowd's big.
Well, we're selling out every night.
We love you, Portland!
Then, the scene shifts to the office of a production label called EMI Records. Their Queen personnel, manager Reid, and lawyers met with one of EMI's executive producers, Ray Foster. It seems that Ray wanted to protect the band Queen so that they could put the EMI label on every recording of their songs. But it seems there was a bit of a debate between Ray and Freddie as the vocalist and leader of Queen. It turns out that Freddie's artistic tastes did not match Ray's expectations as a prospective producer. Finally, Ray still gave Freddie Mercury the opportunity to create songs for Queen and the label.
Please don't make me regret this.
No fun.
The scene changes to a place called Rockfield Farm, precisely in 1975. The members of the band Queen and their manager head to a location in a quiet rural area. The place turned out to be a ranch area, but there were living quarters and a recording studio. Queen's manager, Mr. Reid, chose that place because it was considered peaceful and far from the crowds. In that place, Freddie continued to imagine and did not stop writing the songs he would create.
Love of my life,
When Freddie sang his own song entitled Love of My Life, he was accompanied by his assistant manager, Paul. Paul seems to always have an eye on Freddie Mercury. It seems like Paul feels an attraction to Freddie. Until finally, it turned out that Paul was a gay man who liked the same sex. Continue the next day, when the Queen band members were still too busy arguing to decide whose new song would be chosen. Freddie got a brilliant idea for the song he would create. Then he found the right tone and lyrics for his new song this time. Then he continued to develop it, and it became a song called Bohemian Rhapsody. Then one by one the Queen members took turns recording the song Bohemian Rhapsody. Even the recording technique for this song could be said to be quite complicated and very difficult at that time.
How was that?
But the effort was not in vain. The Bohemian Rhapsody song was successfully created with a song duration of around 6 minutes. The scene shifts back to the EMI production label office. The Queen members meet again with Ray as their prospective producer and submit the song Bohemian Rhapsody to Ray. But when checked again, it seems there is another debate. Ray considered that the song was not interesting and the lyrics had no meaning. Ray even said that no radio station would be able to play a song with a duration of more than 3 minutes.
Galileo and all that Ismiller business. What's that about anyway? Bloody Bismillah.
The feud between Ray and Queen personnel continues. Because he felt that the song he had written with great effort had been belittled by Ray, Freddie and his friends finally rejected Ray as their producer and rejected EMI as the label that would be their sponsor.
No one will know the name Queen.
Then Freddie, Mary, and their friends meet Freddie's friend named Kenny at a radio station that can play songs freely without any set time limit. Then Freddie asked Kenny for help to play the song Bohemian Rhapsody. Finally, the Bohemian Rhapsody song was successfully played on the radio at that time. Unexpectedly, the song became the #1 top song with the most plays at that time. And the song Bohemian Rhapsody succeeded in making Queen's name skyrocket even more. Now, the band Queen has become a top artist and has successfully toured the world.
Anyone can see to me.
But the more famous Freddie became, the more out of control his life became. After performing at his concert, Freddie had sex with Paul in his hotel room. The scene shifts to Mary's house, where during an intimate conversation, Freddie finally admits to Mary that he is bisexual. Hearing this, Mary was shocked and surprised by Freddie's deviant behavior. Unbeknownst to Mary, Freddie is now a different person. But his success has managed to make Freddie have a new home. Freddie's life is getting more chaotic. He prefers to have drunken parties and revel. Of course, that made his bandmates Queen dislike Freddie's personality. Even Freddie's attraction to the same sex is getting out of control. While having a party at his house, Freddie seems to meet a man he seems to like, and the man's name is Jim Hutton. It seems that Jim is also a gay who is ready to accompany Freddie whenever he wants. The scene shifts to Queen's recording studio, where guitarist Brian is seen coming up with an idea for a new song. And a new song was created entitled, "We Will Rock You."
Let's start with this. Don't speed up! Rog, keep...
The song was no less successful in shaking up the concerts held by Queen.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise playing in the... We will rock you.
When the concert was over, Mary was meeting Freddie with his new lover, whose name was David. Despite being shocked, Freddie still seemed strong and accepted it. Then on the other hand, Queen's manager, Mr. Reed and Paul were getting information about an offer for Freddie Mercury to pursue a solo career. But after the offer was discussed with Freddie, it actually made Freddie feel disappointed. Because Mr. Reed as the manager, asked Freddie to pursue a solo career, which meant asking him to leave the band Queen. Finally, Freddie unilaterally fired Mr. Reed as manager without the knowledge of the other Queen members, but kept Paul because he was Freddie Mercury's same-sex lover. The harmony between the Queen band members was increasingly strained by Freddie's seemingly selfish behavior, but this did not stop Queen from continuing to create new songs. And there Freddie also appointed his lawyer named Jim Beach to act as Queen's new manager. Time passed, and as time went on, Freddie's physical condition deteriorated and was no longer like it used to be. In 1982, even when interviewed at a press conference, Freddie felt he could not control his emotions when answering questions from journalists. Freddie's mental and emotional condition became increasingly chaotic due to his unhealthy lifestyle, often getting drunk and using drugs. Now, Freddie feels lonely after knowing that Mary never picks up his phone like when they were still together, where at that time Mary was always there for Freddie. Then when Queen made a video clip dressed as a woman, it seemed that Freddie felt uncomfortable and bored with the current situation. Then he secretly looked for the contact of a man named Jim Hutton, whom he met at a party at his house at that time. Long story short, Freddie and the Queen band members are having a serious meeting. There it appears that Freddie wanted to express that he would accept the previous offer to pursue a solo career and leave the band Queen temporarily.
I've signed a deal with
CBS Records.
Of course, this made the other Queen members feel shocked and angry at Freddie's selfish attitude.
You just killed Queen.
Then the scene shifts to the city of Munich, Germany 1884. Freddie is seen there busy preparing new songs for his solo career album and accompanied by his lover named Paul. On the other hand, Paul was called by Jim Beach as Queen's manager that there was an offer to perform at the biggest charity concert at that time called Live Aid, which would be held at Wembley Stadium, England. The concert will be the largest ever watched by an audience and will be broadcast on television all over the world. But Paul secretly hid that information from Freddie. Long story short, Freddie's condition worsened due to his unhealthy lifestyle. Then one night, Mary apparently visited Germany to meet Freddie at his residence.
I had this terrible dream that something bad had happened. I miss you.
I miss you.
It was Mary who told Freddie that there would be the biggest charity concert to be held in the future. They chat, and Mary advises him that Freddie will not get the same affection from Paul as he did from the members of Queen, because Paul is not a good person for Freddie. After Mary leaves, Freddie seems angry with Paul because he feels he has been lied to by him. And finally, Freddie left Paul at that moment.
I'm sorry, Freddie, come back! I'll make it better!
And sure enough, after being left by Freddie, Paul betrayed him by revealing all of Freddie's life secrets when interviewed on television. Besides that, Freddie also begged his manager to ask for an artist slot for the band Queen so they could perform at the biggest charity concert, Live Aid. Long story short, Freddie finally met Brian, Roger, John, and manager Jim Beach to apologize. Finally, the decision was made that the band Queen would be given the opportunity to perform at the charity concert. And after going through negotiations among Queen members, they finally agreed to appear at the biggest concert in the world at that time.
Please.
The scene shifts to Freddie's house, where Freddie is seen watching the news on television about the rampant AIDS virus that is hitting England. Because in those years, in England, LGBT or homosexual promiscuity was quite popular. Finally, Freddie went to the doctor to consult about his health condition. And it turns out, Freddie was also diagnosed with AIDS. This news was then conveyed to the other members of Queen, and Freddie asked that no one else, apart from the members of Queen, know about Freddie's illness and focus on improving the performance of the Queen band, which had previously been on hiatus.
Even though you're crying like three little girls.
Then, after they underwent a short practice, finally the day of the biggest charity concert arrived. In the morning, before heading to the venue, Freddie first met Jim Huttons, the man he met at the party, at his house at that time. Freddie now considers Jim his lover and introduces him to his family before performing.
Jim's my friend.
Freddie.
We have to go, Mom.
But you just got here, Peter.
What do you mean?
And now, Freddie's father also supports Freddie for the sake of his son's career.
Put on the telly.
The scene shifts to Wembley Stadium, the venue for the largest charity concert, Live Aid, in 1985 in the city of London, England. Freddie, Brian, Roger, and John Deacon are seen getting ready to perform on stage. They seemed nervous, because it had been a long time since they had performed at a concert this big before.
Anyway, begins to see no. Her Majesty, Queen!
But unexpectedly, Freddie and other Queen members' performances were quite successful by performing Bohemian Rhapsody and others. Then closed with the song, We Are the Champions.
I've paid my dues.
Of course, the spectacular performance managed to capture the attention of millions of spectators who watched the charity concert. The film's credits also state that Freddie Mercury died of AIDS on November 24, 1991, at the age of 45. His body was cremated in the tradition of his family's Zoroastrian faith. And the film is over. As the final chords of "We Are the Champions" echo through Wembley Stadium, one thing becomes clear: Freddie Mercury didn't just perform, he lived, unapologetically and fearlessly. Bohemian Rhapsody isn't just about fame or music. It's about owning your identity, finding your voice, and using it even when the world tells you not to. Freddie's journey reminds us that greatness isn't about perfection. It's about passion. It's about authenticity. And it's about embracing who you truly are, flaws and all. Because in the end, it's not just the music we remember, it's the courage behind it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more recaps that rock. Until next time, keep the music alive.